I do believe Ethereum has first mover advantage. But one thing that is in the back of my mind and thinking about the future of adoption are these gas fees. How do you personally look at this? And do you see this as a risk that a Solana and some other Polkadot or something can overtake Ethereum eventually as a result?
Maybe. I'm indifferent. You know, I have no emotion about does Solana become a larger network. It's a trade-off between centralization and decentralization. The reason the gas fees are so expensive in Ethereum is because it's so popular. Mm. So that opens up opportunities for other chains. Do they become a chain that ends up being larger than Ethereum? Who the hell knows? And it doesn't really matter. People take it like it's a personal thing. It's like, do I care whether Google is bigger than Apple or Apple bigger? No. They're all going to exist.
Well, Raoul, real quick, maybe I didn't phrase that correctly. So all emotions aside, think of, okay, Yahoo came out with the great search engine at the time, but then Google came along with a better algorithm and a cleaner interface, and then essentially owned the search market, right? So I'm thinking from that standpoint of speed, transaction per second, and things like that. Are you concerned, or maybe it's just early where it doesn't matter at this point? Because Yahoo,
it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, if you can show me the network dying in Ethereum and network growth slowing, then that's a serious issue. If it's not, then it's not. You know, right now it's highly observable that the Ethereum network is growing faster than the Bitcoin network, and Solana and Terra and Avalanche are growing faster than Ethereum, but from a lower base. Mm. That's fine. So they're all growing. And you know, the Bitcoin network is growing. So every one of those is growing. And so at this stage, it doesn't matter.
Got it. Now, let's talk a bit more about Ethereum. Where do you see it as one of the base layer protocols similar to what we have in the internet? Because there's so much building on it. You had ICOs, now you have NFTs, and obviously it's leading the DeFi movement. What are your thoughts on all these things that are being built on it? And is that part of why you're so bullish on it, that it is that?
Yeah, this is what makes Metcalfe's law interesting, because you can have a chain like Doge, which has a lot of investors, but not enough use cases. I think it may come because it's such a big chain with so many people on it, that why would you not build applications for it? But it's a very lopsided Metcalfe's law. So it should be very volatile in price, because once the investors leave, there's no stuff. Ethereum is so deep and so rich an ecosystem with the number of people building on it that it's incredibly powerful. And everybody has to realize is whatever people think the narrative is in Bitcoin about Bitcoin being money, the reality is the medium of exchange in Web 3.0 is ETH. Mm. I mean, all NFTs are priced in ETH. Sotheby's are doing art auctions in ETH. DeFi is based in ETH generally. The metaverse is in ETH. I even commissioned a headquarters for Real Vision in Crypto Voxels. We got a metaverse architects firm to build it. They charge us in ETH. So ETH is money right now. Does it always remain money? Who knows? But right now, nobody pays each other in Web 3.0 and Bitcoin. Literally nobody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything with NFTs and metaverse. You have to use ETH at this point. So with that said, do you have a price prediction for ETH at the peak of this respective bull run?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes over 20,000, and I have done for a long time. And there's a potential for even further because of the staking dynamics and stuff. But my general view is that it goes to 20,000. That was, and I say that with a relative level of confidence. That's just a repeat of what Bitcoin did in 2017. It kind of overlays pretty well. It's not perfect. It was perfect for a while. The charts were like spooky tick for tick. Now they're not, but contextually kind of makes sense for me. It's only a 4x from here. I mean, we've seen Bitcoin do 4x or ETH last cycle did, 4x, 5x, 6x in the last month of the year. So who knows? I think the cycle extends anyway. I think it's not going to be the same Bitcoin halving cycle that we've seen. I think it's changed because of the nature of people who are in the market now as well, with the institutions coming in and others. So yeah, I think it goes further and higher than most people imagine.
Do you see the cycle extension going to maybe mid next year to blow off top is in mid next year or beyond that?
I think mid next year. I think it's somewhere around the. I think it's somewhere. If ETH we've just discussed is so important to the current environment of where we are, arguably it's more important than Bitcoin, because of how much is being built on it and is driving prices because of NFTs and DeFi and all these things moving the price of ETH. Then the ETH 2.0 staking, whenever that happens, and not the staking, the release of ETH 2.0, I think around that is the moment, because you kind of know. I know people I've been arguing a bit on Twitter about this. I've always said that the moment it's released is probably a buy the rumor, sell the fact. And everyone's like, yeah, but my ETH's already going to be locked for a longer period. But I can front run you because I know you have to sell your ETH. You might sell your ETH as soon as you're unlocked. So why would I give you the benefit of higher prices to sell into? Markets know positions. So there's nothing worse than ETH 2.0 out, you're still locked, and I get to sell because I didn't stake, and you're trapped watching the prices fall.
Let's talk
about markets love pain.
Yeah, and I know you've talked about it too, that the little guy gets the front run a lot of the institutions this time around.
Yeah, I mean, all the way through, the little guys have front run the institutions. I've launched this Exponential Age Asset Management, which is a fund of hedge funds that invests in crypto hedge funds. There's a lot of people like, why didn't you let the little guys in? I'm like, I can't legally because of the law, and I understand that it's unfair. And yes, I'm doing some other projects that will help that. But don't you understand, me bringing in new money into the hedge fund space in crypto drives up the value of your tokens, and you are front running them just as I promised you would.
Let's talk a bit about Bitcoin, because the market has historically followed Bitcoin's move because of the halving cycle. It's the brand, but like you said, Ethereum is on the rise, could certainly surpass Bitcoin at some point. But we're seeing Bitcoin being held by corporates on their balance sheet. Countries like El Salvador adopting Bitcoin. The mining ban in China decentralized the hash rate around the globe. And a lot of miners are coming to the United States. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin's adoption and also a price prediction for this bull run peak?
Bitcoin's adoption is relentless for different reasons. It's a great balance sheet asset. It's a savings asset. It's a long-term vehicle. It has that